Okay, good afternoon everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you guys have a chance to reflect on what we learned. Last week we start off with one of the beautiful teaching, which is the sutra that the Buddha talked to King Ajatasattu, right? Still remember? It's called the Fruit of Ascetic Life, or Sāmaññaphala Sutta. This one, Sāmaññaphala Sutta. Saman mean samana mean ascetic or recluse, people who are looking for the truth of life, looking for spiritual development. And phala mean the fruit or the benefit. King Ajatasattu was looking for the answer about what exactly that the monk do. What do they think, what do they do all day long, and what is the goal of their becoming a monk. Because he himself, he has an experience with somehow he hang out with the wrong monk. He get influenced by Tevatatta, who come to him with the bad wishes to gain his interest and gain his support in helping Tevatatta to take over the position of the Buddha or take over of the Sangha community. That's the starting point of suffering in his life. As a king, he couldn't go to bed well since the moment that he get to know Tevatatta, and he finally got his father killed. That's the thing. So the king was not very happy, and he looking for the teacher to comfort him about his wrongdoing, and he was not satisfied. He went on search for more and more teacher. So in this sutra we have seen at least 6 of them, the most prominent idea of how people live life as an ascetic. So the King Ajatasattu was looking for the answer, looking for the way out of uncomfortable feeling, the guilty that he has because he killed his father. So he went and seek for advice from this 6 teacher, and he was not satisfied. And that night, the full moon night, right? And the king, he was in a good mood to look for another teacher. And Jivaka Komarapat point him to the Buddha, who happened to stay in his mango grove, the land that he offered to the Buddha. As the king get there, he bowed to the Buddha and he start asking the question about what is the fruit of being ascetic, what would be the reason why someone become a monk, and what can they expect. And we have come to the 2 fruit, the 2 benefit, right? Still remember? Just recap just real quick. Okay? The first 2 fruit, very similar. It talk about the superficial benefit of someone becoming a monk. When someone become a monk, you don't have to go back to do what you were doing. When you were slave, you work for someone, your boss or the king will not come and disrupt you and take you back to go back home and work for him. No, instead, even the king will look after you, will support you, will bow to you. And that's one benefit. And not only that, you don't have to pay tax, because as a monk, you don't have an income. So the king or your boss, whoever, someone that you work for before you become a monk, those people will turn themselves to pay respect to you and support you in your spiritual life. So you don't have to work, you don't have to pay tax. By looking at this, it attracts more and more people to become an ascetic back then, because number one, they don't have to work, they don't have to pay the bill, they get free food for life. These people usually they gain support from the lay people wherever they go, whatever they believe, but as long as they live life like that, people tend to give support. So you get free food for life, you get free shelter, you get free medicine, you don't have to pay tax. Wherever you travel, maybe people can give you a ride for free. And that's the idea. Even nowadays, monks still get privilege. When you get on the bus, there will be a seat for you, separate from the women, from the lay people. In Thailand, bus is free for monks, but taxi is not free. Airplane is not free, okay? But again, you gain some privilege as a monk, because in the land of Buddhism, people respect the monk. And this is the very superficial benefit of someone becoming a monk. If you continue ordained for the rest of your life, from this moment on that you become a monk, you don't have to worry about cooking, about finding food, about shopping, about cleaning, because someone or the lay people will prepare food for us. People in the village, people at our staff, they will dedicate their time and energy to support us, to free our time to get back to study Dhamma and get back to meditation practice. And that's something I like to remind you that please don't take it for granted. Wow, this is very sabai life, this is very simple life. I don't have to cook, I don't have to do anything. People just keep bringing me a good food every single day that I am wake up and I am still a monk. And again, people back then, they may fall into this trap because they don't want to work, so they become a monk. That's the very superficial benefit of someone becoming a monk. No need to work, no need to pay tax, and you gain privilege wherever you go. And the king said, is that all? Is there anything else beside that? Don't have to work, don't have to pay tax. Now the Buddha start to explain the king more detail about the real benefit of someone becoming a monk, becoming an ascetic. So we'll get to that today together. So this sutra probably given around 15 years after the Buddha achieved enlightenment and start teaching people. So by then people get to know the Buddha, who he is, and people get to hear the Dhamma or the teaching of the Buddha. And many people ordain following the teaching of the Buddha. And the typical situation is like this. A householder means someone who live in the house, right? That literally what it means. You own the house. Basically the lay people, the son of the householder, or the one born in the same other family. When that people hear the Dhamma, the teaching of the Buddha, in this case Dhamma means the teaching of the Buddha. Having heard the Dhamma, he gains faith in the Tathagata. Tathagata again point to the Buddha, right? Endowed with such faith, he reflects that the household life is crowded, is the path of dust. Going forth again mean what? Ordination or banpacha. Going forth mean leave home completely to be homeless, like an open air. So staying at home is crowded, is dusty, but going forth is more open path. It is not easy for one to stay at home and lead a perfect, complete, purified, holy life. It's very difficult. Even though you have faith in the Buddha, you want to practice the Dhamma, but at home it's quite challenging. It's not easy. Bright as the police courses, the police chair, it's difficult to keep our holy life pure at home. So let me then shave off my hair, shave off my beard, and put on the saffron robe and go forth from home to homelessness. You will be seeing these particular scenes very often as you go through the sutra or the teaching of the Buddha that kept in the Sutta Pitaka. Someone meet the Buddha, never met before, listen to the teaching, understand what the Buddha teach, and want to become a monk. If you reflect on this deeper, maybe you can relate it to the reason why you become a monk. You must see something, you must see some benefit of the monk's life. What else that you are looking for in the monk's life besides free yourself from worry, don't have to go to work, free from mom and dad, free from whatever at home. Now you are here fully, body and mind, to dig yourself deeper to the realm of spiritual development, to the realm of meditation practice, whatever it is. As we go through this teaching of the Buddha, Sāmaññaphala Sutta, we should have our goal clearly. We should understand clearly why we are here, why we become a monk, and what exactly that we are looking for. In this teaching, the Buddha gives a full explanation of the superficial benefit of someone becoming a monk, of the intermediate benefit, and the ultimate benefit of someone becoming a monk. So when you see the whole path, maybe it can help you to understand much better. Wow, this I can achieve too, that I can achieve too. Maybe it can help you to come back to develop yourself more in many areas in order to get to that level where you want to achieve. According to the Buddha teaching, how far we can go in this spiritual life. The sutra I summarized into 3 levels. Okay? We will go through this. Okay? We finished the first one already. The first benefit, you are free from lay life, free from the dusty life, free from a narrow life. Now you are a free man. Just like the bird only have 2 wings, you are free to moving forward fully in this spiritual development. You can develop yourself without having anything to worry behind. No need to worry about cooking, paying the bill, medicine, shelter, clothes. Everything mentioned here, someone will take care for you. And that's the very first benefit of someone becoming a monk from the day one that you ordain. So the second or the medium benefit of someone becoming a monk, you will have a chance to observe precept, and it will help you to reduce a certain level of defilement in your mind, moderate defilement, not all of them, but an ultimate benefit of someone becoming a monk. The Buddha point to full liberation. You will have a chance to remove all of defilement completely from your mind. That can be done, and many people have achieved that level. And some people have attained supernatural knowledge, supernatural ability that normal human being cannot do. Many monks, they can do this, they can have this knowledge, and they have ability to do something that we cannot do, like special eyes, special ear, see something, hear something that normal people cannot hear, cannot see. We'll get to that in a moment. There are 3 steps, 3 benefits, okay? Superficial one, no need to worry about life, family, making a living, you are free. Again, I mentioned long time ago, I don't know if you still remember, Karavat or the lay people mean the group of people who live by defilement. People live by defilement, and when someone become an ascetic, they distance themselves from the defilement life. Even though we be a monk, but we still have defilement, but at least we don't get involved on a daily basis to run our life under the guidance of the defilement all the time. Because when someone become a monk, we follow the rules, right? We don't allow to entertain ourselves, we don't allow to touch the woman, we don't allow to do a lot of things. With this framework, it helps us to keep ourselves distant from the defilement more and more and more and more. And later on, your mind become calmer and calmer, and you will go deeper and deeper into your meditation development or mind development until you are fully be able to remove the hindrances or the defilement from your own mind. Yeah, most of this is in your handout. We will have to go through some text again and that's the nature of sutta study. But don't worry, I'll stop here and there and explain to you. Today also have many information to cover as well, but I think it's worth it. It's worth it, as not only you as a new monk, but for me as well. When I reflect on this, I always learn something. When a man gone forth means ordination, he live restrained by the Patimokkha. Okay, let me go through this first and I'll explain later. He possess a proper behavior and resort. This is the keyword here, behavior, resort, Patimokkha. Having taken up the rule of training, which is again Patimokha, he trained himself in them. In what? In those Patimokha, in those rules. He seeing danger in the slightest fault. He come to endow with wholesome bodily and verbally action. His livelihood is pure. Livelihood is pure. And he possess moral discipline. He is possessed in moral discipline. He guard the door of sense faculty, guard it. He endow with mindfulness and clear awareness, clear comprehension, which is what? Sati and Sampajañña, right? And content. There are many important keywords in this paragraph of how the monk should train oneself. How the monk should train oneself, starting from Patimokkha, right? The rule that we have to live by, our behavior or the manner, and the place. Resort means the place where the monk should go, where the monk should not go, and the way we live our life. This is our livelihood must be pure. I will give you an example in a moment. Okay, so now I just want to emphasize on the keyword, just to get yourself started and get yourself familiar with the term before we actually see it on that see each one of these keywords that lists in the text in a moment. And he is possessed in moral discipline. He got the door of sense, okay, mindfulness and clear comprehension, which is sati and sampajañña, and then contentment. You will see this keyword again shortly. And in this paragraph, you see them all. You see all of them, what the Buddha wants, how the Buddha trained the monks. He will start from Patimokha, from the rules first, understand the rule to at least has a framework to develop yourself physically and verbally. Make sure those physical and verbal is in a nice and calm manner first before you can go and practice meditation. Make sure you take care of this physical body and this manner first. It helps you to be calm, it helps you to be more mindful, and then with that being built, that foundation being built, then you can meditate much better. So the Buddha has a step to train the monk. He not just all of a sudden, okay, let everyone ordain today, let's meditate. There are steps that the monk need to go through until the monk can realize enlightenment or nibbana. It's very beautiful framework. And in this sutra, the Buddha point to something called the section of disciplines. He mentioned 3 groups of discipline. Start from the small section, the medium section, and the larger section in this sutra. Some of these are not mentioned in the 227 rules, because remember this sutra, the Buddha gave the teaching to the king Ajatasattu. He did not give the teaching to the monk. He just want the king to understand the framework of how he trained the monk and what monks supposed to be doing. If someone leave home, to be an homeless, to be an ascetic, and this is if he ordained under the teaching of the Buddha, and this is how the Buddha gonna teach those monks, those ascetic. So he mentioned 3 groups. No matter who you are, when you ordain with me, you will have to understand that monk need to observe Patimokkha or precept, and this Patimokkha or precept, the Buddha break down into 3 groups. Okay, which some of them they are overlapping, but the idea is it's more like a principle. It's not the rule by the letter. It's not like number 1 you can do this, number 2 you cannot do this, number 3 you cannot do this. No, it's more like a principle, like small section, the medium section, and the larger section. So we will see them all, and then I will stop here and there to give you an example. But you don't be surprised that many of these they are not listed in the 227 precept that we understand that wow, 227 is a lot already. There are something else that the Buddha mentioned as well. There's something else that we don't know as well. It did not mention in the Buddhist text or in this Patimokkha. There must be some standard way, right, for us to observe precept, because a lot of things that we have nowadays, it wasn't exist in the time of the Buddha. Can the monk get on the airplane? There was no airplane back then. Can the monks using internet or Facebook, social media? There was no such thing in the Buddha time. So there are many rules that we have to use another dimension to analyze, to reflect whether we can do or we cannot do or not. If you have doubt, then it's best to reach out for the teacher to help you verify, can I do this or not. So let's start from here. We're not going to go all of this, okay? It's many of them. In this sutra is a Tikha Nikaya, which is a long discourse of the Buddha. It's quite long, and the Buddha mentioned many things that I think is relevant for the king to understand, but it may not relevant for us as the monk in this 21st century to understand. But the principle is the same. It's about being calm, being a nice manner, being a polite monk. Okay, don't entertain yourself. Don't make a wrong living as a monk. We will see an example in a moment what I mean by monk commit a wrong living. What kind of living that monk's supposed to be doing? We don't make money, right? Somehow we can make a wrong living if we don't study or don't understand the teaching of the Buddha. Okay, so for example, this is this small section. This look like the 8th precept about don't damage the seed, you don't cut down the plant. Okay, don't eat one meal a day. Okay, abstain from dancing, singing. Okay, no watching unsuitable show, decorating yourself, right? Beautify yourself and stay in the luxurious bed, things like this. Okay, we're familiar with that. This is like look like the 8th precept. And abstaining from accepting gold, okay, silver, raw meat, female slave, goat, sheep, elephants, cattle, horse, mare, even not accepting field and land. If someone come to Luang Pi Dennis and they want to offer you an elephant, would you take it? They have strong faith to Luang Pi Dennis, and Luang Pi Dennis stay in the forest, so they want to offer you elephant so you can ride elephant to Bintabat or whatever. In some area, people offer horse to the monk, so monk can ride the horse because monks stay in the deep forest. So monk can ride the horse and go get food in the village. So if someone offering you something like this is the Buddha mentioned the name of some animal. And back then, people still have slave, right? People offer slave, female slave, and male slave. Okay, offer woman, offer girl. So people offer because they have faith in you. They may, out of their passion or out of their faith, they offer to you, maybe these people can help you at the temple, do the dishes, clean your kuti, right? And offer the elephant, offer the land, offer a lot of things like this, offer silver, offer gold. And the Buddha said he abstained from. You should not. If you receive elephant, who gonna feed elephant? How much elephant eat, right? You can ask the lay people, how am I going to feed them? Sometimes you have to educate the lay people because they don't know what is appropriate for the thing that they offer to the monk. So many times that the lay people don't know, you have to help them to understand what the Buddha wants us to live life. We want to live simple life, right? If you have 10 elephants, then you don't have to meditate. You have to go feed them all day long, right? Take them to the shower. There's a lot of things happening to elephant. So we don't accept that. He abstaining from running message and buying and selling. So monk don't buy and don't sell stuff in the eyes of the Buddha. False speech, okay. Dishonest, okay. Basically, these are the things that monk not supposed to be doing. Okay. Beside this one, 8 precept, right? Watching show, receiving stuff that we're not supposed to, and buying and selling stuff, and running the message from the lay people to another person. So this is the first group of discipline that the Buddha explained to the king Ajatasattu about the small section of moral discipline. I was kind of surprised that the Buddha gave a very long teaching, explained almost every single thing to this king, what the benefit of someone becoming a monk, that we cannot find in any sutra in the Sutta Pitaka. Only in this particular teaching, the Buddha give very detailed explanation to the lay person, because King Ajatasattu was a lay person, he was not a monk. But Buddha actually spent time to teach the king about this is the benefit of someone becoming a monk, and this is what the monk can do, this is what the monk cannot do, this is what the monk should do, and the monk should not do. And you have to kind of reconnect it back of the background of King Ajatasattu, because King Ajatasattu, he has a bad impression of the ascetic, right, of the monk, which is Tevatatta. If there were many monks like that, what happened in his kingdom, right? The monk would go around and ask things for people. The monk will support someone to kill someone. The monk will make a soliciting donation, make demand for things from the lay people, and that would make his kingdom very turbulent. So that's the background of King Ajatasattu. That's why he seeks for the true answer. Why those people become a monk? And in your doctrine, what exactly that you teach them, what exactly that they would gain benefit of them becoming a monk or ascetic under your teaching. So that's the story of King Ajatasattu, that his idea, why he come to meet the Buddha. So the Buddha go on with the intermediate section of the moral disciplines. So in this one is emphasized on show and entertainment. And if you look at the sutra, there are many of them, many show, many games that people back then, something we have no idea what it is. Basically, that's not the duty of the monk to enjoy watching that show, to enjoy the sense pleasure world. You become a monk, you leave home already. Your job is not to go back to that realm, the realm of attachment. So in this intermediate, it's more like a watching show and entertainment. Because when someone becoming a monk, we decided to leave home to be homeless. So we should cut off the sense pleasure happiness. Happiness from entertainment, happiness from watching show. And in this sutra, the Buddha mentioned a long list of show that the monk should not get involved. And many of them we have no idea what it is, because maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, but the idea is about entertainment. So when someone become a monk, they turn themselves away from those entertaining, from those sense pleasure will back. Basically, that's what it means in this intermediate section of the disciplines. Unsuitable shows, sleep in the high and luxurious bed. As you can see, there are some overlapping of the small and the intermediate section of the moral discipline. Favorite chatter, talking too much, talking, hinting, belittling, look down others. Okay, gambling, this kind of thing. It's about manner. When the lay people see you sit down and watching show in the public, right? There may be elephant fighting or horse racing or chicken fighting, and that's the show, that's the game that the lay people enjoy, right? So if the monk were there with them, mingle with the lay people and entertain themselves, amuse themselves watching the show, and this is something that the Buddha would not happy, so he would suggest that monk shouldn't be doing that. And this is how he explained to the king how the manner of the good monk should be look like. And the larger section of moral discipline, this is about right livelihood of being a monk. Many of these, they are not listed in 227 precepts. They are not listed in 227 precepts at all. It's about culture. It's about people do something that people do back then. And the monk, they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be getting involved. So it's about superstition, it's about astrology. So basically, monks shouldn't give any prediction. If something happened in the village, maybe there was a lightning and people don't know what to do, they come to you and then ask you to give prediction. Why there was a lightning yesterday? Is there something bad going to happen? What about earthquake? What about flooding? So it's not a monk's job to give prediction at all. Okay, predicting, prophesying, there's some significance of the animal. Sometimes you have animal, the cow with 3 horns, right? Or the banana come up with the shape of the baby or the woman, banana leaf, banana tree, and things like that. People get scared and people don't know what to do, so they seek for advice from the monk. Can you do something about it? How can you educate them? So people expect some advice from the monk, and the monk see this opportunity. If you start giving advice, people keep coming back to you, and this how you can gain not only fame, you can gain material wealth as well. People make donation more to your temple, people respect you more, and people give you more credibility. Sometimes people come and ask you for the number. What is the number for the next lotto, the big game? If you and yeah, some monks actually do that. Okay, but it's not mentioned in the 227 precepts, but it's mentioned here about what we should not do. All of this is about making prediction about the mark on the body, about dream. You have a bad dream, you go talk to the monk, and the monk give prediction. And how long a man can live. How long can I live? If you go and ask the monk, and the monk may give you in comfort, right? And help you to do some ceremony and cheer you up. By doing this, you can live longer. You go release the fish, you make some donation, and you build the temple, this and that, then you can live long, and something like this. There is a chance where the monk can have a soliciting donation and ask donation from the lay people in the wrong way. Okay. Predicting the earthquake, the eclipse of the moon and the sun. What about the war time? When there is a war, right? I'll give you an example in a moment, just a second. Here, let me mention all of this first. Arrange the marriage. Arrange for divorce. Okay. Arrange for the date that if you open your business today, then you can make more money than on that day, this day. Make a reciting charm that make people lucky and unlucky. There are something like this. So if someone come and seek for your advice, when should I get married? What day should I open my business? What day should I divorce my wife? How can you deal with this? Is this your job to help them with that? Do you see how smart of the Buddha? And we should reflect on this deeply. How much should we get involved in the lay people's life? We ordain, somehow we cannot just completely disconnect ourselves from the society. People will come and find us. Sometimes the monk, by default, the monk become not only spiritual leader, the monk become called psychiatrist, psychologist. People will come to you and ask for your advice. Long Pi, what should I do? My girlfriend just left me. There are all kind of questions that lay people have. They will come and find you, and they will come and seek for your advice. So you have to prepare. So basically, the Buddha talk about small section of discipline, the intermediate section of discipline, which is about watching show and entertainment, and the larger section, the last section of moral discipline. This one is about livelihood, about how to live good life as a monk. What kind of thing that monk should not be involved. Okay, so let's take a look at example. Before we go to that, if you come across the book called Visuddhimagga, the Visuddhimagga is the book composed by Buddhaghosa, happened to be an Indian monk long time ago, and he composed the Visuddhimagga. It's one of the most highly venerated texts. It's not Tipitaka itself. It's like another book that composed by this scholar monk back then. It's quite interesting book as well. Okay, I think it's worth it to take a look, because this book is explained all of the main teaching of the Buddha in one book in a nice and systematic manner. For example, what is non-self, what is 5 aggregate, what is the law of characteristic, anicca, dukkha, anatta, what is the what is how to practice meditation, 40 technique. This book explains clearly what are those 40 technique and how to practice all of them. There are so many things that explained in this book, because in the sutra itself we may see this kind of principle, the main teaching of the Buddha, randomly here and there, but there is no explanation. So this Venerable Buddha Kosa put everything together and explain in one textbook. It's a very nice collection that we should have, that you guys have time, please take a look. So in this book it's talk about precept as well, and maybe it give us another dimension of how we look at precept. Number one, precept is about Patimokkha, okay, the rule, right? And number two, precept also including the sense control, which is called Indriya Sangvara Sila. Again, sense control, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch. This also consider one kind of precept as well. And the third is the purity of livelihood. Again, Achiva Parisuddhi Sila. See, it's another idea of how we look at precept. So precept is not just 227 no more. It's about seeing, hearing, doing, touching, tasting. It's about livelihood, how to gain faith, how you deal with the lay people. The lay people offer this, offer that. Can you accept? Can you not accept? Pure conduct regarding to the necessity. Pacchaya Sannisita. Pacchaya Nisit, basically that's how they call in Thai. Pacchaya Nisit is about how we use our necessity, how we use robe, food, shelter, clothes, and medicine. These are the necessity that we use in our daily life. These also consider one group of precept or sila as well. Okay, so it's not just 227. Here, I think Buddha Kosa did a very nice job. He summarized the right conduct into one paragraph, which is very similar to what we seen in the earlier paragraph or in the sutra from time to time as we study more and more sutra. Okay, the monk who have respect, who act respectfully, who have moral shame, again this is hiri, and moral dread, this is ottappa, right? Fear of wrongdoing and fear of consequence of shame of wrongdoing and the fear of the consequence of the wrongdoing, who dress properly, who walk forward and walk backward devotedly, who head bent with eye downcast, who are devoted, who restrains in the internal sense about sense control, who are moderate in eating, who constantly practice wakefulness. Okay, monk cannot be lazy in practice mindfulness and meditation practice, who are perfect in mindfulness, sati, right, and satisfy contentment with what they have, who don't stick in group. That means monks should be secluded, not mingle with a lot of people all the time, who always practice diligently day and night, who have respect for the higher training rules, okay, respect the rules of proper conduct, and who are fully respect. This monk is called the monk who have right conduct, right manner, right living. It's not just, oh, okay, I keep 207 precepts clean. Sometimes, many times, often times, is not enough. You need to make sure that you are mindful, you have a nice and calm manner, besides observing those precepts strictly as well. Understand what you should do, what you should not do. Understand the culture wherever you go. If now you're in Thailand, if you have to fly back in Ukraine, in Turkey, and people they may not know how to do with the monk, how to deal with the monk. Again, it's your job to make sure that you don't jeopardize or you don't violate the precept that you observe as a good monk. Sometimes people invite you to go to such a place that you never thought that you will be invited to be there. And what would you do? If someone opened up the new nightclub selling drug and alcohol and they ask you to be there to bless their business, would you go? What would be your roles in that situation? So it's about right conduct and right venue. The place where you cannot go, where you should not go, and where you should go, and the conduct or the manner, how should you behave. These two things, the Buddha wants monks to have a very clear understanding and the strong foundation of doing this, and then after that you are ready for meditation practice. He will introduce you to the four foundation of mindfulness, okay, mindfulness toward the body, the feeling, the mind object, and then advanced meditation technique after that. So basically the precept first, right? The precept, the manner, And then after that, later on, you will have a chance to practice more of the mind development toward mindfulness practice, and then higher level of meditation practice. But whoever ordained become a monk, start from understand precept, manner, where the place where you should go, where you should not go, the behavior or the manner beside those rules that laid down by the Buddha himself. What about this one? In Thailand, even though it's a land of Buddhism, there are many news about monks who maybe misbehave, or maybe people misunderstanding about the monk behavior. So there are many situations like this happening. So the monks go arms round, and he just standing there. He's standing there 1 or 2 hours. He don't go anywhere else, right next to the shop, and waiting for people to buy the food. And when people buy the food, the monk expect to get some food that people buy. So you would have to buy 2 sets, right? You buy rice and some food, and then for yourself 1 set, and then you offer to the monk 1 set, and then you go to work. And that monk happened to standing there and don't go anywhere. And people said, well, sometime return that food to the shop owner. The owner of that food shop can resell those food again, because the monk cannot eat all of that. So there are many news like this that discredit the Buddhism. To me, I think it's very important for us as a new monk, especially you guys are foreigner. You need to know the context of Thai communities. You need to know, is it okay or is this not okay? In our case, we stay in the training area. We don't go arms round like this. So we have no idea what's happening in the outside world, in the land of Buddhism. But the day one that you ordain, you take responsibility to make sure that you need to protect the credibility of Buddhism as a whole. People don't know how long you ordain. Maybe you ordain 1 month, maybe you ordain 10 years. It doesn't matter, as long as you're wearing this saffron robe and you get your bowl and go to the village in the morning, go to the market in the morning, people will happy to give you food. They don't ask you for the ID. They don't ask you where did you ordain, how long you ordain. It doesn't matter. As long as you with the bowl standing there, people would like to give. But some monks, there are many fake monks nowadays. They just make a living by putting this on and go get food in the morning, but they're not a real monk. And again, superstitious and lucky number, this is very popular in Thai communities. People go to the temple not to practice meditation, but they look for the number. They look for the number to buy lotto, to bring them fortunate, to win the lottery. Imagine that you are Westerner, you don't know anything about Thailand, you don't know anything about Buddhism, and then all of a sudden you want to see the temple. You go to the temple, and then you meet with the monk. The monk happened to sit there, smiling, and then you bow to him, you sit down, and all the monks said, wow, you know what, today you don't look very happy. Let me see your palm. So you give him, your palm, and the monk look at your palm and said, wow, I think you're having a bad luck. Bad luck is coming up. And then you got scared. Really? What's going to happen to me? You may have some accident happening. Well, what should I do? And the monk said, maybe, there's something you can do about it. If you make donation, if you do this, do that in my temple, with that energy of merit, maybe those accidents may not happen to you. If that Westerner who never understand Buddhism, never have experience with the monks and the Buddhist community and Buddhist culture, if this happened to him, he may not come back to any temple in the world again, right? It's more like soliciting and ask for money. And this happened to many places. Giving holy water, selling amulet, give prediction, reading your palm, look at your face, look at the scar in your face, and telling you that something bad gonna happen, and you should make donation to this. You should build the Buddha image. You should build the JD. You should offer the monk's kuti, this and that. It happened. It is happened in this land of Buddhism. So when you go travel, you visit from temple to temple, you will notice something like this that Luang Pi mentioned. Some temples sell amulet. Some temples sell some religious related item. And people claim that this is very powerful. If you have with you, it will protect you. You will be safe from all the danger, from all COVID-19, or from all the suffering in the world. There are many things like this. And the Buddha said clearly, there is no other refuge than the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. No such thing. No Buddha, no amulet, no holy water, no nothing at all. But this day, people, I don't know how this come about. Maybe the tradition thing, maybe the Brahminism thing. Now Buddhism and Brahminism, they mingle really almost, perfectly. Every Buddhist ceremony always have something that related to the Brahminism. So you have to use your best judgment when it comes to this. Is there any place that we should not go that you can think of? What happened to this picture? The monk was there, maybe the museum. He go there for education purpose. He just standing there. But surrounded him, they all lay people and take picture, right? Is it okay for you to stand there and look at this picture by yourself? What's wrong with this picture? It seems like nothing wrong, right? You're just there. You don't drink, you don't dance. You're just there to study something, to look at the picture. But it happened to be crowded and only one monk's there. So we have to be very careful. If nothing happened, okay. If something can happen, people may say something, because many rules come from the complaint of the lay people, such as the rain retreat that's coming up. The reason the Buddha have the rule for the monk to stay for 90 days during the rainy season, because the lay people complain that people who are then under your teaching, they never stop traveling and they step on my rice field, my agriculture, while other ascetic they stay, they don't travel during that time. But the people who are then under the Buddha keep on traveling non-stop all year round. So people complain, then the Buddha call for the Buddha issue the rule that you guys should stay here 90 days, don't travel. There are many rules that get influenced by the culture of the people back then. So we have to be very careful. So the place that alcohol is served, the place that there is show is crowded, in the mall, in the many places, monks need to be very careful, because something like this, many of these places, again, they may not exist in the time of the Buddha. But nowadays, with the world of technology, with the world of social media, people can spread the bad news really just on their fingertip, just real quick, and everyone in the world know what's happening. If the monk happen to be there and drinking, sit right next to the guy who drinking beer, maybe you drink coffee, but people may find fault that why monk sit there, the place where people serve alcohol. So we're not allowed to go to the show, to the concert, to the football, stadium like this, to the where people have the activity like this, like the horse racing, like the chicken fighting, or even walking in the mall, even though it was not mentioned in the rules, 227 rules, because there was no shopping mall basically. So if you happen to be in the mall, you must be very careful. I think it's in Hong Kong or somewhere that the monk happened to be walking in the mall. It was very crowded, and he was standing in the Louis Vuitton shop. Maybe he was going to buy something for his mom as a gift. But people said that why monks stand in the Louis Vuitton shop? It's considered luxurious. It's considered expensive stuff. You shouldn't be there. So you have to be careful. If you may don't think anything, you just want to buy a small wallet for your mom and your sister, right? So I would suggest you have the lay people buy for you. You don't go there and buy for yourself. You take a risk, or people may misunderstanding about why you being there. And what about this? So the monk give the blessing to the soldier, right? The Buddha mentioned in the larger session, in the intermediate session about when the king go to the war and the monk shouldn't getting involved, right? So if the military people ask for your blessing, would you go? I think this is Russian army, and the monks also, Russian monks, they go to the war with Ukraine. It's on the news. And the monk give the blessing to this Russian soldier. And I believe if Ukraine soldier ask for blessing, the monk would go as well to give the same blessing. What can we do? Use your wisdom. As a monk, I think we should go, because no one wants to die. If someone asks for your blessing, you should be there. It's the time for you to give the Dhamma talk, reflecting on the conflict, reflecting on the nature of life. If nobody wants to die, if you go to war today, you may die. Is there anything that you've done in your life that you're proud of? Any good thing that you have done for yourself and your family? If you go today, you may not come back. So people are afraid to die. So you're not just there to cheer them up. Why don't you go kill as many people as you can? Because they are our enemy. No, that's not what the monk's supposed to do. But I think you go there to comfort them, to at least comfort them, give them some insight about suffering in life. So when you finish your duty, you withdraw, you come back, okay, and do good thing. Nobody wants to be hurt. Nobody wants to die. So there are many times that monks need to get involved in this situation. I think in the ancient time in Thailand as well, in many years ago, that Thailand and Myanmar has a war, and these two countries, okay, we both are Buddhist country, and we have to go to war for some reason, political reason. We don't know that, but somehow we need to go to the war, and people seek for blessing from the monk, either a Buddhist monk, a Thai Buddhist monk, or Myanmar Buddhist monk. I think we have to play some role. We're not there to motivate people to kill each other, but at least we give them some comfort, because no one wants to die. No one wants to have good life, to live life peacefully. And that's the role that the monk should play. And here we come to, again, to the intermediate benefit, right? The first benefit is about monk. And when someone become a monk, they don't have to work, they don't have to pay tax. That's very superficial. Now we come to the second part of benefit of someone becoming a monk, that the Buddha explained to the king, that the monk have a chance to develop themselves to the precept, the small section, the intermediate section, and the larger section of precept of making the right livelihood as a monk. Don't seduce people, don't solicit people, don't say a bad word, don't entertain themselves watching the show and getting involved with killing, with violence, those kind of things. And you can see here, the Buddha have not mentioned anything about mind development yet. It's just the first step about precept, about livelihood, about right livelihood, and about the manner, the place where you should go, the place where you should not go, thing that you should do, thing that you should not do. He has not mentioned anything about meditation or mind development, not yet. In this second part of the sutra, the Buddha continue, okay, up to the fourth absorption, or the 1 to 4 jhana. From this moment onward, someone become a monk, have a chance to slowly develop the quality of his mind. Through what? After you observe precept, right? You understand what the good monk should do. No kill, no lie, no entertain. Don't go there, don't go there, don't do this. So now the monk understand. And the second step, the Buddha start to train the monk to develop the sense control. You learn how to control your sense. Why? Because if you not control your sense door, you will be suffering if you don't guard your sense door well. As a new monk or even the old monk, our mindfulness is not strong yet. We just come from the lay life to be a monk. So a lot of things we think of the life of the lay people. The show, the sense pleasure, the tasty food, the comfortable bed, comfortable bathroom, comfortable activity. That's how we get used to it. Now we become a monk. We're not 100% completely disconnected ourselves from that feeling yet. So the Buddha suggests monks have to be very careful about what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch. Because you think of this hook, the hook and the interesting bait that attract the fish to get to the hook. If the bait is tempting, is beautiful, is attract, then the fish will get the hook. And when the fish get the hook, the fish is in danger. Fish will be suffering. And who forced the fish to get to the hook? No one. The fish get to the hook by itself. It's willing to eat that bait, and then it's suffering. So when you see the beautiful woman, beautiful clothes, beautiful iPhone, the new iPhone, or whatever it is, when you go out, you go arms around, and you start seeing these things, you start hearing, you start smelling things. It's like the hook with the beautiful bait, the intriguing bait that attract you. And if you bite on it, you will be suffering. You will come back to the temple and you cannot meditate because of something you see, something you hear, something you smell will stay in your mind for a very long time. And it will disturb you when it comes to meditation practice. And that is a second step. To me, this is very beautiful. After you observe precept, it's not enough. You need to guard your sense door. And then after that, the Buddha introduced the monk to practice sati and sampajañña, to be mindful with a clear comprehension of whatever in front of you. Because we not sit and close our eye and meditate all day long, right? Between one session to another session, during that session, we should do ourselves to be mindful. We should do our best to be mindful. Otherwise, the next session, we will have a hard time to still our mind again if we let the mind go wherever it wants to go. So mindfulness and clear comprehension needs to be there. If it's possible, in every single activity, the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed, you need to be very mindful. Remind yourself to be mindful and to be aware of what in front of you, what you're supposed to be doing. And you ask yourself question during the day, where is my mind now? I think this is a good question. Simple but powerful. If you ask yourself, where is my mind now? Then you know where your mind is. Then you know where your mind is, right? If you don't ask yourself where is your mind is back home already, even though you try to sit and meditate in that meditation room. But mind is not with you. Your job is to make sure that your mind is with you in everything that you do. And number 4 is contentment. This is the next step. Mindful, sati, sampajañña, and then contentment or sandot, santosa. Contentment is not, well, I feel content that, with laziness, I don't have to do anything. I'm appreciative that I don't have to do anything. No, contentment is about whatever you receive, food you receive, you feeling content. The bedroom that you stay, the shelter you stay, you content. There is no aircon, no problem. No fan, no problem. Today, no electricity, no problem. You become a no problem person, imperturbable person. Whatever you have, you can teach yourself to feel content. Stop being choosy. Stop requesting things from the lay people. That's not the monks, that's not what the good monk's supposed to be doing. When we become a monk, we leave home, where we have everything at home, and we choose to be homeless, where we have nothing, we own nothing. We don't even know what to eat tomorrow. We don't even know what to expect tomorrow. And that's the monk's life is all about. It's about simplicity. It's about feeling content. And if you have all of this master, if you develop all of this, if you manage to have all of this developed, you will be noticed that you will meditate much better. These 5 hindrances will have a hard time to get into you, because when we meditate, they are there waiting for you. Sense pleasure, ill will, sleepiness, right? Worriness and doubt. But if you have all of this, number 1, 2, 3, 4, with precept, with control the sense, being mindful all day long, and you appreciate what you have all day long. And when it comes to meditate, you feel like your mind come back a lot faster. Your mind can stay still with you, whatever meditation object you use, much longer. This is the beauty of have all of this master. And it takes time. And eventually, you will get to this level. This is number 5. This is level number 6, where you attain the deeper concentration or the jhana. We haven't touched on the topic of jhana yet. There are 8 levels of jhana. Material jhana and immaterial jhana. In this teaching, the Buddha only mentioned 4 levels of jhana, and he explained in detail how that someone feel when you attain the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, or the fourth jhana. Basically, jhana is the state of mind that being in a perfect equanimity. When someone in the jhana state, you lost time, you don't think about time, you don't feel anything, you feel blissful, you feel happy, and you want to be there forever. So when someone in the jhana, that means that state of mind, these 5 hindrances cannot take action at all. You don't feel sleepy, you fully awake, you don't have sense desire, you don't get angry with someone, you don't have worry mind, you don't have doubt. All of these 5 hindrances cannot take control your mind. That's why you feel so peaceful. And you want to be there forever. But when you get out of your meditation seat, then the 5 hindrances come back. So jhana is the starting point for the monk to feel that, wow, I never thought that I can have this kind of feeling by going to deeper and deeper into my mind, in the deeper concentration. So this is one of the benefits of someone becoming a monk, to have a chance to experience that. But in order for you to have a chance to experience that, you have to master all of this first, from number 1 to number 5, and then you can get there to number 6. You cannot just, I don't want to observe precept, can I experience jhana? No, it doesn't work that way. So you might still have 5 hindrances. Again, 5 hindrances give rise to ignorance, right, to avijja, which we learn from Avijja Sutra. So anyway, so in this sutra, the Buddha only mentioned 4 jhana. Okay, he did not go all the way up to the 8th jhana, which is maybe not necessary for explaining to the king Ajatasattu. That's how the Buddha teach. So at the end of this teaching, I will give you the summary and comparison of the 3 main sutra of how the Buddha trained the monk, and then you will see the difference and what would be the best way to train the monk. Okay, so wait a moment. This is the highest benefit of someone becoming a monk, right? So we talk about the superficial benefit, that you don't have to work, you don't have to pay tax, you have a chance to live life freedom from the worry, from the lay life, and then you have a chance to observe precept, you have a chance to practice mindfulness, develop your guard your sense door, right? Feel content and remove 5 hindrances and achieve the jhana, which is the deeper state of concentration. And beyond that, okay, is there anything else that the king asked? The Buddha said yes, and this is the highest fruit, highest benefit of someone becoming a monk. So now the Buddha talk about something very deep, something super special, supernatural power that a human being can achieve. Maybe this is new to many of us, right? We may not have heard about this. We may not come across this kind of teaching before in our life, but wow, is this something that human being can do? And the answer is yes. This is something that human being can achieve. If you train your mind properly and correctly, you can achieve all of this. But again, it's not an essence of the teaching of the Buddha, okay? But it's the benefit that a man can achieve when he become a monk and when he practice meditation properly. Okay, so we can touch on this a little bit. Number 1 is about insight, knowledge, and vision. This is about, you may hear about the word vipassana, right? Vipassana is an insight meditation, the meditation that helps to remove ignorance. So when we remove ignorance, we start seeing things the way they are. We start seeing and understanding the 5 aggregate, how it works. When we see a man or when we see a woman, they're just one set of 5 aggregate. And eventually, this aggregate will break apart and go back to the nature. There's no beauty, no beautiful woman, no handsome man. That's just something our mind formation is called mental formation. We form this information. And we have ability to think good and think bad, something like this. So it's about the level of the first level of higher knowledge is about insight knowledge, to see things the way they are. And then the monk will have ability to have, they call the mind-made body. This key term is mean that you have ability to control your mind to do something special, super special power, like you can multiply your body from 1 monk to be 10 monk to be 100 monk to be 1 million monk. And the third one is about psychic power. You can do things that people cannot do, like you can walk on the water, you can dive yourself underneath the ground, you can fly up to the air, things like that. And the divine ear, you can hear things from far away that normal human being we cannot hear. And you can read someone's mind as well, okay? And you can recollect your own past life. You can have the divine eyes to see the previous life of others as well. And the highest level that a man can achieve, which is the Buddha and those Arahant monks they have achieved, is called the ability to remove the defilement from their mind completely. This is the highest knowledge. Sometimes you hear only the word 3 knowledge, but in this sutra the Buddha talk about 8 knowledge, 8 supernatural knowledge. He gave this teaching to the king. He explained each one of them clearly of something that a man can achieve when he become a monk, up to the way that he can remove his own defilement completely from his own mind. 8 knowledge and 3 knowledge. Keep this number in mind. You see a picture clearer in a moment. And at the end of the teaching, we almost done. At the end of the teaching, King Ajatasattu, what interesting was, he made confession to the Buddha. He said, "Venerable Sir, a transaction overcame me. I was foolish, I was so deluded, so unskillful, and I took the life of my own father. Let the awakened one acknowledge my transgression for the sake of my restraint for the future. So basically, King Achas to understand the real meaning of the ascetic life, the benefit of someone becoming a monk. And if someone following this framework like the Buddha just teach him, everyone who become an ascetic, I think that those people deserve respect, from everyone, including the King Achasattu himself. We should protect them, we should support them, because they are good people. They're not going to harm anybody. We should have more of these people in my kingdom, in my city, because they are good people. So the king have faith in the Buddha, and the king made a vow that I will support and following the Buddha teaching for the rest of my life. And that's the starting point of having a better quality of life, of having good life of King Achasattu. Now he come to the point where he admit his wrongdoing. No one can take care of this for me. I have to receive this consequence because I take the life of my own father. And now he have come to the Buddha and have a chance to listen to the teaching of the Buddha. And he realized that, wow, no one can help me. So now he set a vow that he will be a follower and a supporter for the Buddha and the Sangha for the rest of his life. And that's the starting point of the spiritual journey of the King Achasattu. And after the king left, and this is what the Buddha mentioned to the monk. The Buddha said, the king's bhikkhu has ruined himself. He has injured himself. If the king had not taken the life of his father, the righteous king and the righteous man, then in this very seat means now, right after he listened to this teaching, right here, the king would at least have achieved the low level of enlightenment. He would achieve the low level of enlightenment, which is at least Sodapatana or the stream entry. But because the heaviest karma that he commit, he killed his father, this action preventing him from realize that enlightenment. Most of the time when someone have a chance to listen to the teaching of the Buddha like this, because this teaching, the Buddha gave the teaching particularly to the king only, not someone else. And in most cases, when the Buddha intentionally give the talk to someone, and that person will at least achieve the first level of enlightenment, which is the stream entry. But here with the king, no, because he killed his father. It's considered a very heavy karma. That's why the king attained and achieved nothing. But it's still that benefit of listening to the Dhamma from the Buddha still have power, okay? But it's not strong enough to help him to achieve the lower level of enlightenment right then, because of that heavy karma blocking him to attain that state of enlightenment. To summarize, these are the fruit or the benefit of someone becoming a monk from the lower level to the highest level, right? So on top of you don't have to work, you don't have to pay tax, you don't have to go back to the lay life, you have a chance to observe precept. Why? Because observing precept is the starting point for you to have a good meditation. Now you practice meditation, you make an effort to develop the quality of your mind, restraint of sense faculty, right? Guard your sense door, practice mindfulness and awareness all day long in all activity that you do, and develop the feeling of being content. Just appreciate what you have, appreciate who you are, where you live, what you eat, and then you will meditate better. Automatically you will meditate better if you commit yourself to the training fully. These 5 hindrances eventually will be abandoned, okay? slowly abandoned, and then you will have a chance to experience something called the absorption or the Jhana, which is the deep concentration. And after that, okay, you will have a chance to even realize the Nibbana by yourself, remove completely the defilement from your mind, and you have that ability to do this as well if you practice according to the teaching of the Buddha correctly, properly, and very determined. Don't give up your training. This is the big picture. Good monks, in your eyes, what would be the nature of good monk or the true monk? The way you dress. Start from the way you dress. You dress properly. Don't just put it on. You mindfully, every time you put these saffron robes on, you appreciate that, wow, I am become a monk. Monk is a hard, very difficult for someone to become a monk. The Buddha have to exist, the Dhamma have to exist, the Sangha have to exist, and someone have to preserve Buddhism for a very long time. Until now, in the 21st century, we still have a chance to access to his teaching. So we got ourselves ordained out of our faith and out of our good intention. Now we are here, we become a monk already. So we not just stop here, right? So make sure you take good care of yourself in every single detail. The way you dress, until the manner, okay, all the way up to your manner, understand the precept, feel content, feel appreciation, learn how to forgive, learn how to not to be selfish, learn how to help others more, learn how to be kind, learn how to develop loving kindness and compassion more and more as you grow up in your monk's life on a daily basis, day by day, bit by bit, become better and better. And that's how you should look at the way you train yourself. Okay, now we come to another important part. I did my research and I put everything together in one slide, so it helps you to understand a lot better when it's come to the monastic training. This is very important that I did some research and I put things together for you to understand much clearer and much better of how the good monk should be trained and how the Buddha trained the monk. There are 3 major sutras in the Pali canon that the Buddha teach someone, that the Buddha explained to someone of how he trained the monk. Today we learn this sutra. I have talked about these 2 sutras already, but not with your groups. So let's look at the difference. In Sāmaññaphala Sutta, is in Tikha Nikaya of the long discourse number 2, the one that we learn here. The Buddha talk about at least 8 things, right? 8 benefits that's when someone becoming a monk. We can reflect on this of how the Buddha trained the monk, or how the Buddha wants monk to be trained. First, he will have the monk observe precept and understand about the pure livelihood, what the monk should live life, how the monk should live their life, what are the rules that they need to be followed. And then he will teach the monk how to control their sense door, because if they don't guard their sense door, they will run into suffering into their life. And if you remember, someone asked Sariputta about why monks disrobe. And the Sariputta gave 3 main reasons why monks disrobe. Number 1, that monk did not guard their sense door well. So you cannot overlook about guarding your sense door at all. It's very important. And what would be the second reason why monk disrobe? Sariputta said that monk did not moderate in eating, get trapped in the realm of eating, demanding food, become a choosy person. And the third reason, that monk, he usually not practice something called wakefulness. Basically, he is lazy in practice meditation, because when we don't meditate, we stay away further and further from the realm of inner peace, from the refined form of happiness. And when we don't have that experience of a refined form of happiness, we tend to go back to the happiness from the sense pleasure. And that is why monk disrobe. Sariputta happened to be a very smart monk. He gave 3 reasons. And we can see it here, right? Sense control is important for you to survive. And it's very important for you to achieve in your meditation as well. And then mindfulness and awareness, of course, has to be there. Sati and sampachanya, right? And then contentment, monk need to learn how to content, how to appreciate, learn how to abandon 5 hindrances. That means the monk know how to practice meditation, so he can decrease and eventually abandon those 5 hindrances. And once that happens, he can realize the jhana, okay, the deep concentration, deeper and deeper until the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jhana. And then eventually he will realize the higher knowledge, 8 supernatural power, the one that the Buddha mentioned to the king Ajatasattu. So in this teaching, the Buddha gave the teaching to King Ajatasattu. So he go all the way down, he go all the way up to the ability to remove completely the defilement from one's own mind, if that person practice the Dhamma correctly. And in Ganaka Moggallana Sutra, on the green one, Ganaka is the Brahmin, and he happened to be an accountant. He know about the number. He know how to calculate the number, and he know mathematics very well. And he asked the Buddha, when you train someone, do you have a way to train the person in a gradual step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then he will achieve this? The Buddha said yes. And this is how the Buddha give answer to these Ganaka Moggallana Brahmins about the step, how he trained the person from step 1, step 2, step 3 until that person realized enlightenment. But he only gave 6 level. As you can see here, start from the same thing. If I get someone that wants to be trained, if I have someone that ready to be trained, I will train him like this. Start from help him to understand the precept first. Observe Patimokkha, observe the rules, understand the rule. And then the second thing, he move on to control the sense door, restraint of sense, and then moderate in eating, and then practice wakefulness, don't be lazy, and then develop mindfulness and awareness, sati and sampajanya. And after that, you are ready. You go to the foot of tree, you go to the cave, you go to the forest, you meditate on your own because you know that you can remove 5 hindrances and move on to the rest. The Buddha did not mention the rest, just like he mentioned to the king. You see, it depends on how, depend on who that the Buddha talked to, how much that person wants to know, and how much knowledge or wisdom that person have in order for them to understand what the Buddha about to teach them. So in this case, the Brahmin Ganaka, the Buddha don't complete all the teaching just like the one that he gave to the king Ajatasattu, but it's the same idea of how the Buddha trained the monk. And in this particular one, the one in the middle, the yellow one, is called Mahāassapura Sutra. All of this is in your white book, okay, the book that I gave you. You can take a look. Mahāassapura Sutra, the Buddha talked to the monk. This is very special. And that is why I think you should know that the Buddha talked at least 3 places about how he wants monk to be trained. And then you can train yourself according to the Buddha teaching. And this one again is very beautiful in the yellow one, because this one the Buddha give the Dhamma talk to the monk, so he can go in detail. But he start from Hiri Ottappa. Hiri Ottappa. What is Hiri and what is Ottappa again? Hiri is the sense of shame. You feel shameful to do bad thing. You just cannot steal someone's stuff because you feel very shameful. Shameful, just like you cannot leave the house naked. You can't leave the house naked because you feel very shameful. So have you steal someone or say something bad to someone, you just cannot do it because you feel very shameful. And Ottappa is the fear of consequence of that wrongdoing. Because when you do something bad, there will be consequence come back to you. It's either the law of karma or either the state law that come back to you. If we steal someone's stuff, we may go to jail, right? And it's not just stop there. The law of karma will go after us. Harm someone, steal someone, sexual misconduct someone. So it's about the bad karma. And we don't want to do that because we fear of the consequence of that wrongdoing. This is Hiri Ottappa. When I come to this, I reflect on 2 stories. And I think it's very beautiful. The first story is about the story of Mahāassapura. Who is Mahāassapura? Mahāassapura is the foremost monk who lived life and in ascetic life. He stayed in the forest for the rest of his life. He achieved Arahant, and he's the one who is in charge of the first Sangha meeting after the Buddha passed away to verify the Buddha teaching. So we call the first meeting led by Mahāassapura. So when Mahāassapura, he was born as a Brahmin as well, and when he seek for the teacher, and when he met the Buddha, he had faith in the teaching of the Buddha, and he asked advice from the Buddha. The Buddha gave him 3 teaching, and he following that 3 teaching for the rest of his life. The first one, the Buddha point Mahāassapura to make sure that he develop Hiri Ottappa. He don't talk about precept at all, because Mahāassapura happened to be a very ethical person. When someone develop the fear, the sense of shame of doing bad, and the fear of the consequence of the wrongdoing, this person will not harm anybody. Their precept will be automatically pure. And the second teaching that the Buddha gave to Mahāassapura is to, whenever you have a chance to listen to the Dhamma, whether Dhamma from your junior monk or the senior monk or whoever give the Dhamma talk, you should put your life into it. Listen to it attentively. Don't look down at person. Whoa, you just ordained, you shouldn't be giving the Dhamma talk. No. When someone give the Dhamma talk, you should take it seriously to listen to it, just like you put your life into it. That's how the Buddha teach Kassapa about listening to the Dhamma. I think this is very beautiful. Whoever teach the Dhamma, you need to give them some respect. Listen to them wholeheartedly. Even though that monk or that maybe a lay person give the Dhamma talk, maybe the new monk give the Dhamma talk, that people have to study something, then they can give the Dhamma talk, right? So we should open our heart and listen to them. This way we can learn, and it helps us to lessen our ego. But another story, when Hiri Ottappa, it's about one of the great meditator monk in Thailand. Someone asked him about how can you teach the monk to observe precept, because there are so many precepts, 200 precepts. How can you teach them? How can they memorize them all? And the monk said, I only teach them two things, to cultivate Hiri and Ottappa. I think this is very deep, because when we fully understood the concept of Hiri Ottappa, we will not break any precept. Even though we don't know all of those precepts, we will develop the fear, the sense of shameful of doing bad, and we will have the fear of the consequence of the wrongdoing that something that we are about to do. We may not know the precept, but we don't. Drinking alcohol, maybe it's not good, right? Stealing someone's stuff, I cannot do it. I feel shameful for that. Telling a lie, I shouldn't be doing it because I am a monk. So something like this. So you please reflect on this, okay, about Hiri Ottappa. And this one, the Buddha give the talk to the monk. The Buddha talk about start from Hiri Ottappa first, and then he point the monk to Patimokkha. As you can see, Patimokkha has to be there at the beginning of these three teaching, right? No matter who you are, wherever you come from, doesn't matter. You need to know what you can do, what you cannot do first. You need to make sure that you verbally and physically are pure. Why? Because the next step, the Buddha are going to teach you about the mind development, training the mind to be still. If you are physically and verbally still rude, still impolite, then your mind will be agitated. You will have a lot of worry. You will have a lot of 5 hindrances in your mind every time you meditate. And the second one, the Buddha point to pure livelihood. You have Hiri Ottappa built, you have Patimokkha understood, fully understood, and then you understand how to live good life as a monk, livelihood. And then control your sense. You see the similarity? Patimokkha, sense control, very important. Pure livelihood, also important. And then moderate in eating. Wow, it's here, right? But moderating in eating is not here in the Sāmaññaphala Sutra, but it's appear here in the yellow and in the green sutra, Ganaka Moggallana and Mahāassapura Sutra. So moderate in eating is listed here. And then continue to practice wakefulness. Okay, wakefulness is here, both of them. Mindfulness and awareness has to be there for all of this. Mindfulness and awareness. Okay, mindfulness and awareness. Sense restraint, right? Sense restraint, and Patimokkha, and Patimokkha. After you develop mindfulness and awareness, the Buddha will teach you how to meditate, to remove the 5 hindrances. This one. And then, of course, this is very scientific. When the 5 hindrances have been abandoned, your mind will go deeper and deeper into the deeper dimension of your concentration, and that's we call the experience of the Jhana. It will happen. It will happen when you have no sense desire, when you have no ill will, you have no sleepiness, you have no worriness in your mind, and you have no doubt. When these 5 things stop slowly and stop working, you will start experience the deeper concentration in your mind, and that take you to the deeper and deeper stage of concentration, which is called the first level, second level, third level, and fourth level of Jhana, deeper and deeper and deeper all the way down. And then after that, you have a chance to experience the 3 higher knowledge. Here, the Buddha did not mention the eight knowledge. The Buddha mentioned the top 3 knowledge. He did not mention something in between, like celestial ear, having a psychic power, having a ability to do things super special that human being cannot do. He just point to the 3 most important knowledge, because these 3 knowledge, that's all you need. That's all you need to achieve nibbana, to achieve enlightenment. You need to be able to have ability to remove all the defilement out of your mind completely. So that is why the Buddha point to only the 3 knowledge. He did not mention all of this. He did not mention the divine ear, psychic power, mind and body, mind-made body, or reading someone's mind or things like that. This is not necessary for you to achieve enlightenment. Some monks don't have this ability, but they do have this ability to be able to completely remove defilement from his mind. So I hope you see the similarity of how the Buddha trained the monk in these three teachings that the Buddha gave to different students. The first one, this one that we learned, the Buddha give the teaching to the king Ajatasattu who want to know what exactly is the monk, what these people do, what benefit do they get, and the Buddha go from the superficial benefit to intermediate benefit and then to the ultimate benefit where that person can achieve enlightenment as well. And for the green one, Ganaka Moggallana, which is the Buddha gave to the Brahmin Ganaka, right? He just want to know how the Buddha train people in step, in the gradual. Is there any gradual training system in Buddhism, in the teaching of the Buddha? And the Buddha said, yes, this is how I train. So that means the monk need to be trained according to step. You cannot jump from one step to the third to the fourth. You need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can achieve, right? If you don't observe precept, forget about being mindful, forget about remove 5 hindrances, it's not going to happen. So make sure that start from something superficial first, physically and verbally first, and a nice manner first, and being mindful about making a good living as a monk first, right? What you can go, where you can go, where you should not go, what you should do, what you should not do first, and go from there. Okay, more and more refined. So the second step is more difficult than the first step. The third step is more difficult than the second step. That's how it goes. But in the yellow color Mahāassapura Sutta, I think this should be the prototype of the sutta, how the monk should train oneself. Everything is listed here. We cannot overlook. Start from the very first one. Cultivate the feeling of shameful of wrongdoing, and the feeling of fear of the consequence of those wrongdoing. If you feel shameful, if you feel fear, then you wouldn't do anything bad at all for the rest of your life. You don't have to know about precept. If you reflect on 5 precepts, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, telling a lie, and intoxicant. So these 5 things, we may not know it is called 5 precepts, but if someone force us, someone want us to harm someone or kill someone or invite us to steal someone's stuff, sexual misconduct, we feel the sense of shameful of doing this. We can't do it, and we also fear of the wrong, the consequence of this wrongdoing. So we wouldn't do it anyway. And we may not know or understand the concept of precept, but we feel like I don't want to do this. I feel bad of doing this. So this is called the hiri and ottappa. I think it's very good, the starting point of someone in this spiritual journey, because there are so many rules that you don't know. Do I know all of them? No. We're talking about 10,000 rules that not listed beyond 227 precepts, and I don't know all of that. But the starting point, if we kind of develop this kind of feeling or sense that, well, this is not good, you fear of that wrongdoing, you feel shameful of those wrongdoing. For example, laziness. When you hear the alarm clock ring in the morning, you're supposed to go to the meditation room at 5 o'clock. Alarm clock ring, and then you keep lying down. Today you feel lazy. You don't want to go to meditate for some reason. But if you reflect on this, you know what? I am a monk. I'm going to eat breakfast, and breakfast come from the lay people. The lay people wake up at 3 o'clock, cook the food for me, cook the rice for me, and by the time 7:30, the food is ready. I don't have to do anything. And what am I doing here? Lying down and don't want to go meditate. So you feel very shameful of your own action. You not deserve breakfast because you are lazy monk. You should get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, get dressed, and go meditate, right? Very, very simple. We feel very shameful of our own action. Nothing to do about precept at all. You don't go to meditate, you don't break any precept, but you feel shameful as a monk, as a good monk, as someone that people bow to our feet, as someone that people offer everything to us for free, but we just not brave enough to fight with our own laziness to get up and go to meditate. So this is a very simple example I think you can relate it to. So there's so many precepts. Don't worry about knowing them all. It's good if you have time to slowly read them and understand them. It's good. I encourage you, but don't worry too much. Don't overwhelm too much with those information. I want you to be able to find peace on a daily basis, to have time for meditation, have time to reflect on this simple life, and at the same time find way to cultivate wisdom, learn something here and there. Okay, but don't just spend all day long just read about precept. It's too many information. That's something you should be reflect on. Okay, we almost done. Take away at least two things. I want you to reflect deeply. First, you become a monk already. If you don't train yourself, your monk life is meaningless. You only gain superficial benefit. You don't have to work, you don't have to cook food. Everything you do, someone will take care of you. That's all. You have free time back to yourself, but you don't train yourself. So you will not get to the second level and the third level of someone, the benefit of someone becoming a monk mentioned by the Buddha. You don't develop mindfulness, you don't develop sati, sampachanya, you don't feel content, you don't have a peace of mind. Becoming a monk takes 15 minutes, like I said on the first day, if you remember. Ordination takes 15 minutes, but the rest is different story. If you want to be success in monk life, you need to understand all of this in the yellow color and work on that detail bit by bit. Understand it. Develop the sense control, what you're supposed to think, what you're not supposed to think, what you're supposed to look at, what you're not supposed to look at. There are details of this particular item, but at least coming through this Sāmaññaphala Sutta, I hope you see the idea, the good monk in the eyes of the Buddha, the good monk in the eyes of King Ajatasattu. That's why King Ajatasattu vowed himself to be a Buddhist, to be the lay follower, to support the Buddha and for the monk for the rest of his life, because he realized that if someone become a monk and they're following this practice, this person, I think it's worth supporting him. It's worth protecting him to be a monk, to be an ascetic. So we should have more of these people in our society. Society will be at peace. These people will not kill, will not lie, will not harm anybody. So we should take care of them, right? So make sure you train yourself. And how can you train yourself? That's another story. How much you want to train yourself? That's also another story. And the second thing, it is very important to hang out with good and bad friends. You reflect on this. The reason King Ajatasattu cannot go to bed, cannot sleep well, because he hang out with the wrong monk, wrong friends. Hanging out with the wrong friends will bring suffering into our life, not only in this lifetime, but for the future lifetime as well. But if you come to the right friend, right Kalyana Mitta, you met the Buddha. You may not met the Buddha physically, but you met his teaching, which kept in the Buddhist text, which kept in the sutra. You have a chance to hang out with the good friend, hang out with the Buddha, hang out with those great monks in the past. Go to his teaching, listen for what he has to teach you. Every time you open the textbook, the Buddha is waiting there for you to teach you something. Get back to the sutra, get back to the book, get back to his teaching. He will teach you something, and your life will be better from that moment onward. And every time you come back to his teaching, you will learn something that you never realized that, wow, how come I don't know this before? Because your mind is more refined. You sit, you meditate, you come back and read, you understand this much. You go back and meditate, come back next week to the same sutra, you understand different, you understand much better than before. That's something special about study the teaching of the Buddha from the Buddhist text. So make sure you select friends to hang out with. In our community, it's okay, right? We only have monks there who want to meditate, who want to learn something. But in the reality in life, even though you have to go home, live a lay life, I think this wisdom is very, very important, because the book you read, the people you live life or hang out with, they have a big influence into your life. And that's something we should be avoid associating with bad people. Someone that not only they don't add the value into our life, but they also drag us down to the path of destruction. If that's the case, stay away from them. But if someone always bring value to your life, take you to observe precept, encourage you to observe precept, encourage you to go meditate, encourage you to listen to the Dhamma Talk, they add value to your life and they drag you up to the road of wholesomeness. So this person is a good friend to hang out with. And if you have found them, make sure you maintain good relationship with them. Just like the mother protect her child. So with all this, the Buddha only point us the way. Your job is to walk on the path on your own. Now you know how the Buddha wants us to be trained. Now you know what kind of good monk in the eyes of the Buddha. It's your job to develop yourself on your own, under the support with the teaching monk and mentor monk. No one can force you to do this. No one can realize Nibbana for you. No one can have inner peace for you. You have to develop yourself. No one can have you develop mindfulness, sati, and sampasañña for you. You have to do it yourself, right? Including hili, otappa, fear of shame, fear of wrong consequence of the wrongdoing, those kind of things. Okay, we done with Sāmaññaphala Sutta. Again, this sutra is a long sutra. I encourage you to go back to the original teaching. We have the textbook in the Tikha Nikaya. It's in the library, in the office. You can check it out in English. I think this sutra is worth spending time on it.